Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, a.k.a. Queen, joined by I am Jerrell, Geoff, Klafter, Knick Nation. A lot to talk about. How many games the Knicks got left? 18? Something like that?
19, I believe, 19. Right?
19 games left. So, listen, there's still some time for the Knicks to round into shape. But tonight, the name of the show is Chip Talk. And everything we talk about today is going to be about the next few months. We're not talking about who we signing in the offseason. We're not talking about developing players. We're not talking about anything else but what the Knicks need to do to come out of the East and represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. We're going to revisit the Brunson talk. We're going to talk about Cat. We're going to talk about Brown. We're going to talk about this bench. And what I'm asking from the panel and those in the chat, we not splitting the baby. We not putty-footing around. We not trying to have a balanced take. Tonight, we want all the smoke. Whatever you feel you might have been holding back on, and I don't know if I want to say it because I might be on this hill by myself, it's okay today. This is Real Talk. Shout out to Divine from Knicks Real Talk. Straight how we see it. We've seen enough of the Knicks. Most of us, and I think all of us on this panel, are at least over 40. So we've seen multiple NBA finals, right? I can go all the way back to Magic Bird, back in the 80s. We kind of know what it takes to at least get to the finals. And so we want to talk about the state of the Knicks in terms of where we think they are as far as that's concerned. And we're going to keep it really, really real tonight. All right. Okay. Shout out to the chat. Let's get into it. But before I do, Jerrell, Geoff, Knick Nation, how you doing today? How's the family? Any updates? What it be?
Salute everybody. Salute to the chat. Happy to be here again after not being on the show for like 6 months. At least that's
It's been a minute.
You need some credits. You need some chips.
No, right? Good. Hope everybody's well.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm my jet lag is slowly. I think I'm back. I think so. It was rough. I was going. Some of these Knick games, I had to rewatch them in the morning because by 7 o'clock I was tired.
And we got daylight savings time coming up this weekend to mess up your jet lag.
Oh, it is this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes, spring forward. 47.
I did that for you.
You're up there trying to be Stephanie San Diego. Now you got to talk about the Knicks.
Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, all right, it's 8 o'clock in Ghana, but it's only 3 o'clock. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about where the Knicks are right now. Agree or disagree, I believe let me ask.
Mm-hmm.
Are the New York Knicks one of the best teams in the entire NBA? And do they have a really good shot of representing the East in the NBA Finals? Why or why not? I talked about we all have experience watching NBA teams. Every team is different. Every team's path to the finals, we're different. But another way to answer the question is, what are some of the things you've noticed about those teams that you think the Knicks have or don't have? So however you wanna answer it, based on what you know about the Knicks right now, no sugarcoating. I want to know where you guys really are when it comes to this team. Jerrell, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna start with the guest, Jerrell. Spend a minute.
The OG, you mean?
Welcome, Jerrell. Welcome.
It's one of the first times that I really don't want to go first because I think I'm just pissed everybody off.
No, give it to us straight.
Because I could get the first part of your question out real quick. The answer is yes. We are definitely a talented team, and I think we are one of the best teams in the league. But the second part of that question is when it get loaded.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in hell we're going to win a championship the way that we're playing. I think it's all Mike Brown's fault. I'm not going to lie. It is not talent. The way they treating Cat on offense, it almost not make me want to watch the team anymore. Like we do not play offense like we used to. We're not as sharp. Obviously, something is broken when it comes to them trying to get the ball to Cat. Like it's almost like blatant. I'm just not going to give you the ball. I don't know. For somebody that's a multiple-time All-Star and All-NBA caliber player, I think, I don't know, like all the crap that Cat has been getting this year, if my teammates treated me like that, I have an attitude too. Like, I don't know, it's almost like everybody want to treat him as a scapegoat and a whipping boy just like they did Randall, but he's not the reason why we're losing. Like, Cat leads the league in double-doubles. He's second in rebounding. If he's not first, I don't know if he overtook Joker yet, but he's either 1 or 2 in rebounding. His defense has actually gotten a lot better. But on offense, the way that we treat him on offense, if I was him, like he's being a real professional, even playing the way he's playing with the effort that he's given, the way that they treat him on offense. Like if I was Cat and somebody like Josh Hart just looked me off like that, oh yeah, it'd be trash cans and all types of stuff in the locker room throwing. Like Cat is a better man than me. I would have cursed these dudes out a long time ago, and that sole reason right there is why we would never win a championship if Karl Anthony Towns is not like a huge focal point on this offense, because he is the second best player on this team on offense, if not 1A. Like, because, and the reason I say 1A is because I love Jalen Brunson, but when it comes to the advantages Cat have, he can't do what Cat do. He can't be as dynamic as Cat can sometimes, depending on who we're playing. But if we can't take advantage of Cat being played by like Paul Reed, how are we gonna beat Detroit? Like I don't see it. So the second part of the question is loaded. We're obviously talented. It's just the way that we're playing. And specifically on that Cat note, yeah, we're not going to, like, if we get bounced out of the first round, I wouldn't be shocked.
Wow. That's a great point. This is not about talent. It's about how it's coming. It's about how it's coming together and how it's utilized. The sense I'm getting, Jerrell, and me and Geoff spoke about this on the recap show, is Mike Brown seems to have a specific way he wants this team to play. It doesn't seem like he wants it to be Brunson centric, and Cat is just going to have to get it however he gets it. Right? It's just he's in the pile with OG and Mikal Bridges and even Diawara and Shamet. Like he's just in there. There's no hierarchy in terms of in terms of shot creation. Do you think, what's your thoughts on what it seems like is that he feels like the Knicks are better that way? Do you agree with that? Or from what you've seen in the playoffs, you feel like the best players should get at least, I don't think they should dominate, but do you think they should at least get more shots than the others?
Well, I can say that I think they should dominate, especially in the playoffs. Like Karl Anthony Towns, like I said, multiple-time All-Star, one of the best players in his position. So, yeah, I think this is a huge flaw when it comes to Mike Brown. Everything else seems fine. We're actually playing better defense. Even without Mitch, we played good defense last night. But if we can't shoot, and part of not shooting is giving one of our best shooters the ball, it's almost like I like it. I don't know. Obviously, it's purposeful, but it really does not make sense to have Karl Anthony Towns on your team and just not want to get him the ball. Like, especially with somebody like Josh Hart just looking him off. And Cat ended up getting the ball anyway and getting a foul and actually scoring. Like most of his points was like on offensive putbacks. So stuff like that really, I don't know. I don't want to curse or it grinds my gears. Let's just say, like, last night I was cursing at the TV for most of the game because of Mike Brown.
Okay, we're gonna definitely get into Mike Brown as well. Knick Nation, do you believe the Knicks are one of the best teams in the entire NBA, and do they have a shot to represent the East in the NBA Finals?
I'm going to tweak that a little.
Everybody has a shot. Charlotte has a shot, good shot.
I'm gonna tweak it just a little bit and say that the Knicks are one of the better developing talents in the Eastern Division in the NBA period. Do I think that they can win? Yeah, I think they can win. My feelings are a little bit opposite of what Jerrell's are. And the only reason why is because I'm trying to spread it out on the whole and take what I'm seeing from the beginning of the system to where we are now. And I honestly think that it pains to stake me to say it in that sense, but I honestly think that Mike Brown may be truly unlocking Cat to where his best season, period, balanced wise. Cat has always been a great offensive player. He's always had defensive, issues across his whole career almost. This is not new with the foul situation. This is not new that he has, uses lateral movement. This is not new. This is the same point of what he had issues in Minnesota. This is why they brought in a Rudy Gobert. Those are things like that. So he is a great offensive player, but he's never been known for his far. But now, I hate to say it in that sense, but if we really, the balance point of it is, he's still having great games. I know he's not being, where he's taking a lot of shots or doing things like that. But honestly, game-wise, him working down in the paint in the Mustang hand, to me, it's raising his game a bit. To me, him, securing those rebounds. He fouled out last night, but besides that, he's been, for the most part, he's been a fairly good, decent check. Some of those, retarded things he's done, early on in the season, he is curved though. Those have been curved dramatically. So with that being said, is that, and just like you said, a balance of the what's name. So let's just say we go into the playoffs points with more of a balanced attack. Is that not what we were looking for before? Is this just too much now? There's a lot of question points to it, which hopefully we get answers. But in this next 19 games, I'm definitely looking to see them, clean up a few things. But to say right now that they're that far off of it, I honestly can't say that they're that far off of it because the defense is there. And as long as the stellar point of defense is there, and the defense has been improving on a consistent basis, so I can't truly knock Mike Brown out. I can question what he does for sure, and sometimes the end results of it, because it begins to get puzzling, just like not playing Diawara in the second half on a back-to-back where guys' legs are not truly there. And to have a young 20-year-old, he makes one quick mistake in the third quarter and you quick hook pull him out in that sense. Those things like that you can question, of course. And it looked like even at the point of last night, toward the end, when you make mistakes like that, just that little bit of edge, just that little bit of shortness, where all those guys, look at the last 2 3-point shots, they just missed just short, which, tells you a lot of times it's their legs. So I question things that he does, but right now, and the way that this is being played, it looks ugly of the maturation point of it from the beginning of the season to now. But let's be honest, Cat night and day on defense. And defense, as we know, if we're going to hang our hat to say that defenses wins championships, right now, under Mike Brown, Cat looks so much better on defense than he ever did under a defensive coach, which is supposedly known, specialized for it under Mike Brown. Whatever he's doing, it's like a hard, rough knocks, the hard knock life in that sense. But right now, he's gotten Cat to truly buy more into defense. And that's just how I see it. And no, go ahead.
No, finish. I thought you was finished. No, go ahead.
No, I was basically finished though. So
2 questions though. Can Cat be this defensive player and still be utilized more on offense? Does it have to be that because he's better on defense that he should be, in my opinion, underutilized, not utilized? Like, can it be both?
I just think early on, when you then take on a new role, that you're going to lapse back off on certain points of the game. Just as the same, I think it's the same. I think the same effect and the same thing is happening to Brunson that is also happening to Cat. Brunson just naturally has the ball in his hand more because he's bringing it up. But defensively, the same thing. Brunson has taken a little bit steps back on offense, but his defense, his presence of defense is so much more there. His ability to hopefully stay in front of players has been better. His, staying home on players, not just getting, not just a true turnstile and getting blown by. What Mike Brown has done, it hasn't been, quick. It hasn't been overly, like an aggressive, fast move pace. But through the season, it has looked like at the stage of which we're at right now, that he has gotten it to a point where he has shifted the line and the defensive presence. And now we are hanging our hats more on defense. As you say, for the last 15, 16 games, we've been the number 1 defense, but our offense has definitely reverted back. But that just kind of tells you that their energy is being placed there. They're putting that there now. So with that being said,
though, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My second question is, though, how much defense, what's the balance between the defense and the offense? Like, I hear this all the time, that defense wins championships. I'm not a big believer in that. I think you do have to have a solid defense.
Okay.
But in today's NBA, if you can't score the ball, I don't care if you're the number 1 defense, you going home. You got to be able to score the ball. So I guess the question I have for you is, are you a believer in, if the Knicks maintain this number 1 defense, it's okay if Karl-Anthony Towns and Brunson are not really optimized offensively? What's happening defensively will make up for it?
It's the playoffs. You're going to need a lot of breaks. And in the playoffs, when it comes down to it, you definitely have to get stops. You have to be able to alter teams off of what they do. So the Knicks, at this point of what they've gained on defense, have somewhat of an idea. I ain't going to say somewhat of an idea. They have a great idea what they need to do. They just have to execute it and execute it better. So this is a what do you call a pre-start to get to the point of the playoffs. So yeah, there are going to be times, because defense, where we were last year and then where we were at the beginning of this year on defense, to dial it all the way back to what we've done, it has to be there's a lot of over process, a lot of overkill of that, but it is a necessary factor to get to where we need to be, a efficient defense. We were not even close to a efficient defense. Remember where we were and where we are now. If you go back to where we were,
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. I like the fact that the Knicks defense is improving. I think my take on the matter is both can happen. Like, I don't see why you can't have a better defense and still have an offense where Brunson, his Cat, is optimized. Like, I don't see them as being mutually exclusive.
I agree, but the only thing is that you have to remember this. And for all what you're saying is great, but then in order for them to to really enact it has been tough for them, because we already know that immediately they fall back into that tempo point of Tibbs movement. That hurts. That's not for what's name here. They fall back sometime into Tibbs of how Tibbs does things on defense, where you can see Cat already in the position to doing the drop coverage, where at certain points he's not supposed to. Because why? Because he's supposed to be the guy where he's dropping in the center back. He's not supposed to drop in the center back. He's supposed to be the guy that finds that wherever that player is, if that player is altering to the left point of that baseline, to the right point of that baseline, because that's the key point to their defense. That's why you see the guards up there a lot, and 3 at what times. It almost looks like like he's just trying to, in a sense, well, that's just what the point of it is that it's to drive the players to the baseline.
I get all of that, all of it. My point is, how does that impact the offense, though? I get what you're saying, where he's supposed to be defensively. He's not doing it at times. He's been inconsistent. I get all of that. I'm with you on that. I just don't understand why that means he should take less shots offensively, or why he shouldn't be more of a focal point on the offensive end. I think that's the part I'm not getting.
Well, let's say it like this. Is he still hitting on the average? Is he still averaging? He's still averaging a double-double. He's still getting the ball at key times. What he chooses to do with it at times, sometimes that's on Cat. So you can't just say Mike. You know what I mean? So it's a balancing point. But where we are right now for where Cat's really, as he's playing right now, if he stays this just like he is, he's not the issue. So we really are leaning into him, but he's not the issue. The issues are our wings. That is those are wings have been the.
Yeah, and Jeff, I'm gonna get to you. This is my point of the matter. If Cat wants to bring up his defense, that's totally fine. In my personal opinion, the Knicks are getting nowhere with this Cat. In my opinion, this Cat, and I'm not saying he shouldn't play defense. He should. We've talked about it. He should. The way he's playing defense right now, how engaged he is, he should continue to do this. I just don't think it's mutually exclusive. And I think if we're going into the playoffs,
isn't it still to get the ball back into your best player's hands, right? So defense still gets the ball back into your best player's hands.
It does, but what are we doing? Knick Nation? Yes. This is not, to me, this is not offense versus defense. This is not offense versus defense. This is, even from defense, when you get the ball back offensively, who's getting the shots? That's what this is about. This is not about Cat shouldn't play defense, the team shouldn't play defense, we shouldn't focus on defense. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not mutually exclusive. And I'm saying that if we're gonna make it to the NBA Finals, it's gonna be because of Brunson and Cat, in my opinion, on the offensive end. I do not trust Mikal Bridges. And I do not trust OG Anunoby against a set defense. Can OG Anunoby if somebody drives and kick it out to him, can he hit an open 3? Absolutely. I trust him that he can do that time in and time out in the playoffs. Though, I mean, he may have a bad game. I trust that. The other aspects of his game that I see and I like, I don't trust in the playoffs when you going up, when everybody knows what you're going to do, everybody's level rises, particularly on the defensive end. I do not trust OG Anunoby to be taking his person off the dribble and doing the things that he's doing in the regular season. Now, Mikal Bridges last season, he turned it up in terms of his assertiveness in the playoffs. Maybe he'll do that this year. I'm hopeful he will, because he has the skill set in the playoffs to get his shot off, and hopefully he'll turn it up. My point and my concern is a lot of people are talking about the defense and so happy that the defense is being turned up, and I'm happy too. But I think we are underestimating how important it is to score the ball in the playoffs, because we ain't the only one ratcheting up our defense. Other teams are ratcheting up their defense as well. And shots are harder to come by. And you need to be able to go to the guys that you know can get their shot off. I know Brunson can get his shot off. I know Cat, if you give him the ball, particularly the way he's playing now, earlier in the season, he was a bit too floppy for me when he got the ball. But now he's strong. He's strong with the ball. He's back to the Cat that I know. So what I'm saying is I do need the Knicks to continue this ascension defensively. But am I watching that offense? I'm watching that offense because I've seen teams get bogged down in the playoffs, and guys who were great in the regular season disappeared in the playoffs because they're not used to that type of intensity, and they're not used to having to deliver. That's the key part. They're not used to having to deliver in that type of intensity. So the role OG has now, I'm not trusting that he's going to be that in the playoffs. I'm just not. So I'm happy about the defense, to wrap my point up. But I think Mike Brown's calculus is that the team is better offensively with everybody equal opportunity offense. Doesn't matter. At the end of the game, Sohan can have 12 shots and Karl Anthony Towns can have 6. But if it was in the flow of the offense, it's fine. We're not changing anything. We're not trying to take advantage of mismatch. We're not doing nothing. We're just going to read and react, basically. And whoever gets it, gets it. And in my opinion, we'll see how it works out. I am not a fan of that type of basketball in the playoffs. Your best players have to take the most shots. Obviously, you have to keep the defense honest, so they can't be pounding the ball and you only go to them. So the other guys do have to get involved, but in my opinion, only enough to accentuate your best players. Because when those guys start taking more shots, now you're getting turnovers and missed shots because they not them. They not them. Anyway, Geoff.
We got to get to a point where they were being hunted, though. So we had to try to clean that up because, remember, our best players were getting hurt because they were just truly being hunted. So nowadays that narrative has changed a bit, so that's why I kind of have to give Brown credit, because there hasn't been that straight pointer where they go just right at Brunson, where they just, cancel out and boom, just go straight at Cat. The defense in which they have created in that sense, it has helped
Nick
become
Nation,
a two-way player.
We on the same page as far as, like, you keep coming back.
You're
to
saying
the
a two-way.
We on the same page.
You're saying a two-way, but it takes a lot to become two-way. So what their asking point of Cat is to become two-way, but he had to at least first figure out IQ wise to improve on the defense.
But
I don't think that it's going to be instant. How
many of the best players in this league are two-way? And this goes back to a conversation I had with Uncle Freezy. Shout out to Uncle Freezy from Blanche Tears. Your best players, you cannot ask your best players to also be your best defensive players. It takes a lot on the offensive end. You think Kobe Bryant was a good defensive player on every possession? He was not. You think Michael Jordan was a good defensive player on every possession? He was not, because those players carry a lot of load offensively. So there's times when they have to buckle down and dig in, and you shouldn't be a slouch. So I'm not saying Karl Anthony Towns should be a slouch, but you can't. For me, that trade-off is too huge for both of those guys if they're going to turn into two-way players at the extent of their offense coming way down. Now, should they be a little better on the defensive end? Yes, they should. Both of them. But in my opinion, turning those guys into two-way players to the point where it impacts their offense significantly is a sure way to go home in the first round, in my opinion. Who's scoring the ball? I don't trust any of those other guys to score the ball consistently. So we shall see. Geoff, sorry, Ajay. Welcome back, Hollywood. Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
So this is Chip Talk, Ajay. So we ain't talking about next season. We're not talking about development.
I was listening.
You was listening. Okay. All right. We're just talking about the next from now until June.
I'm glad I got here before you switched topics. So
you're gonna get your spiel. We're gonna get to the chat too. Geoff, are we one of the best teams in the entire NBA? Can we represent the East? What do we need to do? And wherever else you want to go with it.
Well, I think from a positive aspect, I look at our net rating and our offensive rating and our defensive rating, and they're all
real talk. Real talk.
This is real talk. Come on, stats with real talk.
Okay,
come on now. Let me talk. Let me finish,
baby.
I'm not splitting nothing. Let me cook, man.
Okay.
Let me cook. All right. I'm gonna get to my point. I may be a slow road, but I'll get there. You gotta give me a little bit of a runway if you want this plane to take off. A little
runway.
All right, thank you. So if you look at our net rating, offensive rating, and defensive rating, it certainly gives us the profile of a championship team. So if you want to be positive, you can look at that. I am a little bit more skeptical of this team. And I'll tell you why. There's an old joke, and pardon Jerrell, I know you're a Tar Heel fan, but there's an old joke that said that Dean Smith was the only man who could ever hold Michael Jordan under 20 points per game. And suddenly Mike Brown is the only man who can hold Karl Anthony Towns to under 20 points per game. He's only averaging 19.7 this year, and recently he's not even taking perimeter shots. I think he has 7 3-point attempts in the last 5 games, and 4 of those were in the game against Toronto. And so while we're at a good stretch, we're 15-5, we're playing some good ball. When it comes to the playoffs, you've got to have that extra level, and you've got to be able to dig deep, and you've got to have that versatility. And I just don't like the way that our stars are meshing right now. It doesn't look like they're on the same page. It looks like Hart and Brunson in particular have no interest in getting Cat involved in the offense. And it's just, I feel like there's a disconnect between this group for whatever reason. And I think you really see it when we play against the very best teams that can take away your first option and make it difficult on Brunson. We've had a real tough time scoring, and our net rating for those lineups, especially that starting 5, at the beginning of the first quarter, beginning of the third quarter, is really rough. And now you look at last night's game, and what did we do at the beginning of the fourth quarter? We rolled our 5 starters out there to start the fourth quarter, and a 3-point lead turned into a 7-point deficit. Right. And so I don't feel like a championship team starting unit digs themselves a hole every game only for the combinations of the bench unit to kind of lift us out of it. And then for and then rinse and repeat. And then finally in the last 5 minutes, most of the time they kind of get together and get stops and lock down a little bit. But I just feel like there's something off about the chemistry with this team. And I think chemistry is as important to winning championships as all, the offense is important, defense is important, but I think it's important that the on-court chemistry and the trust. And I don't necessarily see it with this team. I mean, when Jalen Brunson has 15 assists and only one of them are to Karl Anthony Towns, and Karl Anthony Towns' only shots are because he offensive rebounded like a madman and got, and went 7 of 8 from the field. I just don't see that as a championship recipe, as a championship formula. And I don't think that it's like, this is not isolated. Even when we're winning, I'm seeing this stuff. And so, to me, something just feels off about it. I can't pinpoint it, and maybe they clean it up for the playoffs. Maybe they figure it out and everything goes the way that it's supposed to. But I don't know. It just feels like something's rotten in Denmark in that locker room, and I can't put my finger on it exactly. I don't know because if we're having the same issues with two different coaches, to me, that's on the players, right? If they're doing this with one coach and now they're doing it with a second coach, well, it can't just be the coach. At some point, the players have to take responsibility. And if Brunson and Towns aren't simpatico, if they're not locked step, if they're not into both maximizing the talents of the other, then we're in trouble. Because guess what? News came out today. The Celtics are getting Jason Tatum back for the playoffs. So our road just became a lot more difficult than Detroit
Friday.
is already. And so, I just don't see it. That's not to say that it's not possible, but I don't see it personally. I will be shocked if this team goes to the NBA Finals, which is a big switch for me because when the season started, I was definitely on board with the Knicks going to the finals.
Geoff, do you think, similar to the conversation me and Nick Nation was having, the Knicks defense is improved and it needed to be, right? We talked about that from the beginning of the season, but you still feel that even with the improved defense, we got to get more from that combination.
I do.
If we want, to win.
Well, and if you look at just the plus minus of that starting combination in particular at the beginning of games, I know the record is really good, but if you look at the plus minus stats of it, if you look at how they're performing, we dig ourselves a lot of big deficits in the first quarter. Look at the Oklahoma City game, even in the Spurs game, which was one of our most impressive wins of the season. We were down, in the first quarter. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers game, we dug ourselves a big hole and we couldn't get ourselves out of it. And I think a lot of that has to do with what we're doing. And even in the Toronto Raptors game, our defense didn't really step up and put the clamps down until the fourth quarter. We gave up, I think, 30 points in the first quarter, and we let a 10-point lead diminish down to 3 in the third quarter. So I think that our defense has improved and it's better in spots and especially down the stretch. But I think a lot of it is not necessarily coming from our starting unit. I think a lot of our defensive improvements have come with guys like Alvarado and Shamet, and when they get mixed and matched in with some of our starters, and Mitch also, and so I think that's where that's coming from. So, but in the playoffs, your rotations tend to tighten typically. And I don't think this is going to be a team that's playing 13 guys in the playoffs. I think that we're going to be 8.5, 9 guys at most. I mean, I like Diawara. I'm not sure if he's going to play come playoff time. And that's even if Deuce is out. I'm not sure he's going to play. So if you're talking about 8 guys and you're leaning on those starters all the more, I'm not sure that's the right combination of guys to get it done in crunch time.
I will say this, though. I agree with you, but a lineup data is about both offense and defense, right? And if that starting lineup is not working this time around, it doesn't necessarily mean it's for the same reasons that it wasn't working last season. And, we're not playing 5 out. I know how some people want to say, and I have no problem with Josh Hart going to the bench. He's becoming a little diva, in my opinion, of late. I have no problems with him going to the bench. But the Knicks aren't playing 5 out anyway. And offensively, they're not utilizing, to me, that starting unit offensively is just not optimized. So like before, I felt like, yeah, we playing 5 out. Josh Hart is cramping our style with his lack of shooting. Now it's Josh Hart, it's Cat not getting the ball, being himself. Like it's more than one thing now with that starting unit on the offensive end. In my opinion, take Josh Hart out, put Shamet in, or Deuce when he's back, and let's see what happens. But if you're not optimizing Cat,
I think
Maybe
that
it'll be better.
goes to an overall more arching point that I've been thinking about a lot. The Knicks don't do a good job of hunting mismatches on the offensive end of the floor. If you've got Lugens Dort, no disrespect to him, he's a good defender, but if you got a 6'4" guy trying to check Karl Anthony Towns and you can't get a pass into the post, something is wrong. I had a junior high team who could execute that play. So I don't really understand. And it's not always a 6'4" guy. I understand that. But this is 18 months of we're going to put a smaller player on Cat and we're going to dare Josh Hart to beat us. Why have we not been able to figure this out with two different coaches over 18 months' time? Hunt the mismatches, get Cat the ball, let him go to work, and punish the mismatch. Because if you punish the mismatch enough, then they have to do something else about it. No team is going to sit there and let Towns punish him possession after possession after possession, quarter after quarter after quarter. If you beat it 3 or 4 times, all of a sudden they've got to go to a different coverage. And you saw even in the Toronto game, Toronto guarded him with a 5 and got cooked in the final 6 minutes of that game. Absolutely destroyed. And so, I just feel like that we as a team, and this is everybody. This isn't just a Brunson problem. It's not just a Cat problem. Whatever the advantage is, we don't do a good job of hunting mismatches. And most of the best teams in the East do. And I think it was one of the primary reasons why the Pacers did beat us in the playoffs last year is they hunted Towns and they hunted Brunson every single possession. And they were always able to get some good offense to come out of that. We don't do that very well as a team, and I think it's a fatal flaw.
Nor do we go back to the hot player. So if somebody, it could be Cat, it could be Shamet, whoever it is, if they're getting hot, particularly if it's Brunson, he'll come in like he was in the locker room, like he wasn't even watching what was going on to try to keep it, going. That's another thing. When somebody is hot, go to that, continue to go to that player. That was another thing that Indiana did in the playoffs. I still have questions about this team's. Maybe it's really good that we're leaning into defense, because I really have questions about this team's process on the offensive end. Ajay, do you want to hop in?
Of course.
Oh, wait, the rules, because specifically for you, we're not splitting the baby. We want all the smoke. Just what you feel. You ain't gotta try to be balanced and whatever. Just give it to us straight.
I heard this show from the beginning. I heard in Jerrell, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff. Since I haven't seen you since last year, man, where do I begin? All right, so are we? Yeah, I think we are one of the best teams in the league. Not just in the East. We're one of the most talented teams in the NBA. Can we win? And I think that was the first part. I mean, that's a straight yes. Can we win a championship? That's where it gets that's where it gets a little muddy, right? I don't know that we're there yet for several reasons. Okay, one of the reasons is the you can't win if you don't play consistent basketball. You're just not gonna win. In a playoff series, you have 7 games. You don't have a whole season to get your ace together, right? You have 7 games. If you're not consistent, you're just not gonna win. It just doesn't work that way. That's why in the NBA, 99% of the time, the better team wins. This is not like the Super Bowl where the team has a good game and they win the ring. That's just not what it is. Okay. Now I hear all the talk about Karl Anthony Towns, and I respectfully disagree with the Knick Nation about sacrificing offense for defense, because to me, it's just, I like to say it's simple math, right? A lot of things are just simple, right? If the guy is an excellent scorer, You bring him to the team. You paid him $54 million. You don't take away what he's excellent at. In fact, you go more. I don't know how many times I said on this show, I don't want to see another MFN game where Cat takes less than 7 3-pointers. I'm just talking about 3-pointers. I don't want to see him take less than 7 per game. Yesterday, he took 8 shots, like total shots. And all of you guys heard this, there's no plays called for him. It's just like they're basically using him like Ariel Hogporty, like eat what you can off the board. I mean, it's just malpractice to use him that way. You can never win that way. You're going to win the ball game. You have to maximize your guys' potentials, right? Josh Hart, you're not all of a sudden, because Josh Hart hustle man. You're not all of a sudden win the game by telling Josh Hart, I don't want you to hustle. I want you to become a better 3-point shooter, so you got to take 3-point shots. Don't hustle. Don't worry about the boards because you already know how to do that. Let's figure out how to get you a 3-point shooter. You're just not going to win that way. You got to use the guys for what they're best at. You know, role. Their roles. Everybody got to play their role. Cat's role is not to be a defender. His role is to score 25 points a game. Okay, so I'm calling plays. I'm building my offense around Cat so he could give me at least 25 points a game. That's how you're gonna win. That's how it works on paper. That's how the math works. That's how they bought him here. Because on paper, he's gonna give you 25, 27 points. Not because, and you know, him playing better defense, that's a bonus. That kind of enhanced your chances, right? But the basic, he has to do what he's good at. You know what I'm saying? OG is a great defender. You're not going to say, OG, let's sacrifice your defense a little bit. Play more offense. No. Keep your defense. Try to improve your offense. Try to improve. Try to become a better rebounder. Yes. But I still want you to play the same tight defense that you're playing. So this is how teams win, right? You look at the Detroit Pistons. You wasn't going to win by having Ben Wallace shoot threes. No, he's a great defender. Let him do what he's good at. Okay, because everybody has a spot on the team. Everybody has a role. Let everybody do what they're really good at, and that's probably the only way you're going to win. The only way you're going to win.
Does that mean, though, that Cat shouldn't be better on the defensive end?
Queen, like I said, him being better on defense is bonus, right? If he could stop a guy, if he could put the effort in, yes. But I'm not sacrificing what you're good at, you know. Cat's 30 years old. All of a sudden he's gonna learn how to play defense? He ain't. Like, you could tweak his game, right? And Queen, I think I said that to you the other day. Like, I won't pull my hair out. I don't have any, but I won't pull it out because Cat play defense with his hands down. The guy's 7 foot. If you raise your arms, raise your hand, it's a big difference. He's closing out, hands down. Like, ain't nobody gonna be scared of you that way, right? Just little things, right? Just little things. When you set the picks, dude, you're not dancing merengue. Stop moving your hips, all right? Just stand still. That's all you got to do. Little things, but I don't want to change his game because I want him at 30 years old to all of a sudden, try to be Ben Wallace. You got to do what you're good at. Same thing with Brunson, by the way, right? Brunson, he's a score first point guard, right? If all of a sudden we think he's going to be a distributor, like or he's going to be Jose Alvarado, he's going to try to be stealing the ball. It's just not going to work. Just let him do what he's good at. That is the only way we're going to work. We're going to win. At this point, you're not going to change anybody in their career. Just let it be.
I mean, I do think there's some room for improvement, particularly on the team defensive end.
I agree. There is room for improvement. Yes. But I'm not going to sacrifice. What you're doing, I want you to do this. And yeah, you can improve on the other one, fine. But I don't want you to take less shots, your Cat, so you could be so you could become a great defender. Cat, I want at least personally Cat's got 13, 15 shots a game minimum. That's on a slow night for Cat. Like on a night where he's in foul trouble, he fouled out, limited minutes. All right, give me 14 shots. It can't be that. Yesterday he took 8 shots. There was a game last week he took five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. I sound like Dave Chappelle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. What are we doing? What are we doing? We can't win that way.
Do you see a difference between the regular season and the playoffs? Because the Knicks are winning this way, right? As of late, Cat has looked really good on both sides of the ball. The Knicks are on pace to win 50, 51 games, if not more. Geoff pointed out top 10 in offense. I do think some of that is padded by the beginning of the season. Top 10 in defense. Is it possible that how the Knicks are playing right now with this free-flowing motion offense, Cat being a two-way player, Brunson being a two-way player, is it possible that this could be the blueprint for a championship team?
Anything's possible, but chances are it's not. Okay, and we're still winning. You know why we're still winning? My answer to the first question, right? The Knicks are one of the most talented teams in the league. Even with the nonsense we're doing, we're still winning because there's a lot of talent on this team. That's why we're still winning. Okay, so the talent plus if we play strategically, if we play better, with better basketball IQ, with better, with a better game plan, we're gonna win even more. And to win a championship, you need all the pieces in place, right? And I think that's what we got to do. So we're still winning because it's a very talented team, And shout out to Queen. Sorry, I had this shout out to Sherwin. No, I want Cat to take more 3-pointers. I've said this a million times. It's very simple. Like it's the math, right? And I think his shot is probably down this season because he don't get enough rep. If he shoots the ball more, he's probably if he get to his average, you want him to take more 3-pointers. That pick and pop is always there. At least because we don't do it a lot, so I don't know if they're gonna try to stop it. If not, the team's gonna try to stop it. But I would go that way all the time until some team trying to they figure out how to stop it. I mean, think about it. If he makes 4 3-pointers out of every 10 he takes,
now it's 10.
No, I'm just saying the percentages, right?
Oh, just overall, not in one game.
Overall, not in one game. That's a win for us. And we have great rebounders, right? So, 2 or 3 of those misses, we get another opportunity.
Well, he's one of the rebounders. If he's out there shooting a 3, wow. A lot was said between all 5 of us. A lot was said. Anything anybody wants to, add, disagree with, it's totally fine to disagree with. Maybe your point is a little sharper, now. I know sometimes that happens to me as I listen to people. It gets a little more nuanced and I learn something and it changes what I have to say a little bit. Anybody want to add to whatever's been said so far?
I'll add mine since I was the odd man out, and I was the punching bag here. But I take it. I love all the smoke. No, you just do. I'm playing. I love the smoke. But my point is this: at the beginning point of the year and through the year, there was dissension in the team, and dissension happens a lot defensively when you blow defensive assignments. Mm-hmm. So there was believe me, those teams discussion and the pressures, those things were both pointed at Cat and Brunson. They've answered a lot of that. So that's why I think that the direction that they're going, we still have to remember this is a team game. So we're pointing at points of saying with Cat, to me, if Cat still plays the same as he is playing right now, we are good enough to get to a point of a championship. And you know what I mean? There's going to be ups and downs, points of games. But if he can't defend, and he can't, what it takes to improve that defense, what it takes to maturation to improve it, it's not a turn on switch with something that you just click and all of a sudden people say effort. Effort is not just the only point on defense. It takes a skill. It takes practice. It takes, you know what I mean? It takes focus for you to keep your hands down. You know what I mean? Not to buy in, not to make that jump. So therefore, that is a maturation point. So as a team, we're worried about Cat. Cat's one of the least ones I'm worried about. It's our wings and our backup point guard. Those are more my issues about as far as us getting to a championship. I'm not worried that in playoff time that Cat shows up offensively. I'm not worried about that. He's been doing that all his life. I would be worried about between him and Brunson had they played that same style of defense, because what they did last year. So we could still score. We did all the scoring last year. We did that. Cat has done that. But did we win? We didn't win because we couldn't get stops in certain places as a team. So as a team function, when we're playing on that string, that is what I think that what gets us to it, what gets us to a championship. Not as far as as two players are great offensively. They were great offensively last year. It didn't get us to a championships. Why? Because as a team, we weren't on a page point to where we got stops. So that's where my point is, where I changed my point. Say that, yeah, what Mike is doing, and it looks ugly, believe me. But I have seen certain points of the rainbow at the end. That's just how I see it. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to. I mean, we don't have to agree. You know, the Knicks can go into the playoffs this year with a really good defense and can't score the ball and go home too. You know,
of course.
Yeah, and you know, and and go home too. So, I mean, we don't have to. You know, we don't have to agree. I will say this: the Knicks aren't the only team in the NBA who have scorers who don't defend. But what those front offices do is they construct the roster in such a way to try to minimize that. And I think it's a risk, it's a gamble, in my opinion, that Mike Brown is taking. That if this is the truth, if it is that the offense is those two players' offense is sacrificed for the defense. Scoring is at a premium in the playoffs. You got to get stops too. No, don't get me wrong. You got to get stops too, but you have to be able to score the ball. You have to be able to score the ball. And if they busting it and trying to play two-way, Michael Jordan didn't do that. Kobe Bryant didn't do that. None of the scorers in the history of the game on every single possession played lockdown defense. Did they play defense? Yes.
That's cheating. That's cheating stuff.
What do you mean?
You just named two of the best players ever to play the game, and then.
But I mean, you can. You know, I'm trying to. Somebody else who was tasked with, you know, the load of scoring for their team. Sure, they have been two-way players. You know, Paul George, two-way, best player on that particular team, two-way. Tatum, Brown, best players on their particular two-way. Okay, but that's not Brunson and Cat. That's their game. That's not Brunson and Cat. And those guys are doing that, and they're not sacrificing their offense because that's their game. They're not doing anything different. So you're asking Brunson and Cat to, listen, step your defense up. Don't get me wrong. But we still need that same level on the offensive end. So maybe they need to start doing sprints so they can get to the Tatum Brown level where you could play both sides of the ball effectively. Because I think it's going to be, and we're going to see it, if they have to sacrifice their offense, and we're relying on OG and Bridges and all of them, it's a wrap.
But what also true to say that, hey, if our wings are truly what they thought what they thought we were, that is the reason why we're asking Brunson and to do more on defense, because we thought that we covered with them, but we cannot. We've seen that it's just been shown we can't. They're not that great of wings on the defensive end to be able to cover what, Cat and Brunson's flaws. So Cat and Brunson, they had to come up with something different in order to cover their flaws. And then at this stage, this is the part of the maturation of a team growth in defense. You can't get around it. It's going to be ugly at times. It just isn't, because those are not guys who were defenders for most of their career. So we're now asking them to sacrifice and do something out of their comfort zone. This is what it looks like, unfortunately.
But that's to me, and that's the Knicks going home early. That's the Knicks going home early, because if they have to become, and there's a line here, it's not either or. I'm all for Brunson being better on the defensive end. I'm all for Cat being better on the defensive end. So this is not an either or proposition. It's how much better can Cat be to the point where it doesn't take away from his offense? How much better defensively can Brunson get that it doesn't take away from their offense? Because even if Bridges and OG are not defensive juggernauts, and I think they've been playing better of late, they couldn't cover Brunson early in the season. That was just too much to ask. They couldn't cover a Cat early in the season. That was too much to ask. But a little better Cat and a little better Brunson, they might be able to do that, because this is the flip side. If Brunson and Cat can't produce offensively, you think Mikal Bridges and OG is going to step up and fill that gap? Do you trust that they're going to be able to step up and fill that gap in the playoffs? If Brunson is tired out from being this now new two-way player, Cat, this new two-way player, and it is sacrifice. I'm not saying it is, but let's just say it does sacrifice their offense some. Do you trust that? Who's stepping up? Who's knocking down the big shots? Who are you going to? I know it's not rhetorical. I'm.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's why.
I'm asking the panel. Like.
Okay.
I thought you were just talking, Steph. I didn't think you was asking.
I was just chilling at it.
Letting you cook.
Cruise control, like Queen is going off. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the ride.
I figured it was rhetorical because the answer is obvious. I mean, I said this a while ago. If we're not going to win nothing with Cat shooting 13 shots a game, that's less shot. He's shooting less shots. Forget about the splits. He's shooting less shots than he did his rookie year. He's a 6-time All-Star. Something's broken. That's pretty much it. Like I don't trust none of them other dudes being the second option on a championship team. For what? How? Like, I don't get it at all. So, like, I get that they have to be better defenders, just like everybody said, but if you're gonna take away from their offense, then what's the point? Like, of them being here. You didn't trade for Cat to do that, to cut his shots damn near in half. Not in half, but that's over exaggerating. But yeah, something got to happen. Like, we're not going to win like this.
We're not.
Where's the balance though? Because I agree though. Who is this? Brahim can't win a chip if your two best players are cones, especially your center and point guard. Where's the balance? So I don't think any of us are saying that they shouldn't play defense. And I don't think Knick Nation is saying the hell with them offensively. I think it's just finding the balance. Where's the balance, Geoff?
Well, I don't think we found that answer to that question out yet. I don't even think the Knicks know right now. I mean, it doesn't look like they understand what the balance is. I think there's a lot of encouraging things about our defense that I think are sustainable. I think we have different lineup combinations that can maximize who we put on the floor and make the lives of the opponent difficult, which is encouraging. I just, again, to me, for the offensive end, it seems like a trust issue. Like there's a lack of communication, there's a lack of trust on the offensive end, and they have to figure that out. They have to solve that part. If they continue on the path that they're on right now, if nothing changes, I don't see this team winning a championship, and I think they're going to struggle in the playoffs. I think they're talented enough to get through a round or two playing the way that they're playing, if the matchups are right and with good, with good shot variance and those sorts of things, because we are one of the most talented teams in the NBA. But with what we're doing right now, our process is bad, and I don't trust it to beat any of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league 4 out of 7 times.
Yeah, Sherwin, we are lacking a player who can demand a double team in the paint and pass out. Cat has to live in the paint to make this offense better. But what's the sense of living in the paint, Sherwin, if he's not getting the ball? I hear what you're saying. He can create advantages in the paint. One, Cat is not usually double teamed because I think teams feel like they can even put a smaller person on him and guard him one-on-one, right? And until you force feed him the ball possession after possession and he takes advantage of it, then you might see a double team. Then you might see a change in who they put on him, right? But just putting Cat in the post doesn't command a double team. And
that's not what we did last year, and he scored 25 a game. We don't have to ramrod him into the post to turn him into a 25-point-a-game scorer. He was that last year, and his shot diet was similar. He's just not getting as many shots this year, but his shots are pretty much coming from the same spaces on the floor this year that they were last year. And oh, by the way, in the last month or so, his percentages are rising to the career averages. I don't know if anybody's noticed that either, but he's shooting the ball a lot better, even though his volume on his three-point attempts has been down in the last 5 or so games. Even that, he was down at about 34%. For the All-Star break. I think he's up to about 36% now. To make up 2 or 3 percentage points like that means that you've been shooting the ball really well from out there of late.
Yeah, when he starts scoring, he will get a double team. But sure, okay, agreed. I agree. But he doesn't get the ball. He gets touches. Don't get me wrong, but he's not getting. He's not getting the ball enough to command a double team. He's not getting he's just not. He's just not. And I'm with you, Geoff. I think you do need to move him around. I don't think he needs to stay out and just keep popping threes all game. I know, Ajay, you disagree. But I think you need to move him around. And I think they have, but we've just been inconsistent in going to him. So I hear you, Sherwin, you want him in the post, but what's the sense of him being in the post if they're not passing him the ball? And this is blatant now. Josh Hart looks him off. On the pick and roll, Brunson hardly ever hits him on the pick and pop. Hardly ever. But if Hart sets that screen or OG sets that screen and they're open, they get the ball. Cat sets the screen, he's open, the ball goes somewhere else. So,
I hope you're wrong on that one, because if that is the case,
watch it.
If that's
he's 100% right. That is what is happening.
People have been saying it, and I haven't been seeing it, Ajay. And I said, you know what? Let me watch. Let me see what.
If that's not the coach's calling, these guys are doing that. I am sitting Josh Hart a couple of games. I'm suspending him a couple of games to make a point.
You suspended him?
Absolutely.
But not just.
What about Brunson? You're not going to suspend him. You're just going to suspend Josh Hart.
Well, slow down, Jeff.
Well, you got.
What about Brunson? Brunson is a culprit too.
You can't suspend the best.
Yeah, you don't want to suspend your best player, but Josh Hart is suspendable. To make a point, to teach, to set the example. Yes.
You don't sit the starting quarterback, Steph. You gotta sit like a backup guard or something. You know what I'm saying? You don't sit the starting quarterback. Can't make it exactly.
I hope that's not the case. If that you just and basketball aside, you're not going to win anything that way. Within the team, you have that kind of problem, that kind of chemistry issue. You're not going to win. I don't care how talented you are.
And we've had that problem for a while too. And plus, I don't even know. Don't we got like an offensive and defensive coordinator like we a football team anyway? What is Mike Brown actually doing over there anyway? So maybe if we get bounced early in the playoffs, he might not get fired, but somebody going on that coaching staff.
I don't think it'd be the same roster coming back next year either, though. Jerrell, if this team flames out early, I think that's getting broken up. I think it's bye-bye Nova, Knicks. I think you're going to see a lot of different changes to the roster. I don't think that's just going to be okay. We're firing another coach and just running it back. I would be stunned if that happened. Consider if that was the result. I'm not saying it will be, but if it is, I think there's going to be a massive organizational shakeup, maybe even as high as the president.
Wow.
Some of it to me, some of Cat's issues or the offensive issues, some of it's also, people may not like it, but some of it is definitely, it's Alvarado. Alvarado is ineffective as far as running our offense. He may be a guard that can bring up the ball, but as far as setting up our offense and setting up players, he's not really good at it. He does it. He gets a little maybe a what's name here and there, but there's been plenty of what's names. We watch this game, plenty of possessions where we get late into the shot clock. He's got the ball in his hand, or he gets it to somebody late, or he doesn't create. He's not a true creator to open up guys like that because nobody respects his shot. So when you got him, you got Hart, and you got, and then you got another inconsistencies from some of our wings. That's what makes our offense look ugly, not what Cat is doing. Cat is getting the point where at times is that he's just not getting in the flow of the offense because the offense by the guard points is not flowing. And the ball stays in Alvarado's hands quite a bit. But he's just doesn't have that shot like that. And then at other times where Hart's on the floor, you got to look at it. Cat is being doubled. Why? He's being shadowed by Hart's man. Hart man shadows everybody because they slack back off him and tell him to beat us. And until he can beat us, they don't really put on him. Erratic on offense because a lot of times we got to look at what he's doing. He's running the ball down the court, but people are not in unison with him at times. And then he'll do some uplift and twist it and get the pass out or a turnover. Right now, Hart has been playing really horrible at times. There's times where his energy and where he gets it and and gets into a flow and it looks great. But then there's other times where he's got us totally out of whack. So I don't really see the points of saying that I'm not going to put it on Cat and I'm not going to put too much on Brunson's shoulders because the other guys have been more inconsistent than them.
But they're your best players, though. I mean, we'll get to the chat and we'll talk about Brunson later, and we can put Alvarado in there in terms of the guard play. I don't think Brunson is. Listen, I don't want to say without fault. The Knicks are on their way to 52, so I don't want to, act like the sky is falling. But again, this is chip talk. This is about, is Brunson good enough or has played well enough from what we've seen so far to lead this team to the NBA Finals? Because we can talk about Alvarado, but at the end of the day, it's on Brunson. Yes, he needs support, don't get me wrong, but he's the best player on this team, and you need to show up big time, right? So we'll talk about Brunson again, revisit his floor game. This is where 19 games left in Mike Brown's system. What have we seen from Brunson that where we're either stoked that he has his role in this offense down pat and he's going to be that dude in the playoffs? Or what concerns do we have, if any, in terms of how he's going to lead this team because he has the ball in his hands a lot. I don't think we have to worry about Alvarado too much because in the playoffs, Brunson minutes is going to go up even more. And Alvarado's minutes are going to go down. But I do want to get to the chat on this segment, and then we'll slide into Brunson. All right. We have Victoria B. Appreciate the super chat. I think the Knicks have everything they need to win except a coach. We'll talk about Mike Brown too. You know, that those are the two segments left, Brunson and Brown. I do want to get to Wingstop too, to Knick Nation's point. And I think there was another super chat. Paris Duggar, I appreciate you rocking with us. Jalen and Josh told Cat, fight for post position and create passing lanes to receive the ball. Cat hasn't shown he's ready to be that force every possession. Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you on that. All right. Okay. We got JJ. Role players should not get more touches than a number 2 option star player. Agreed. Cat becoming my favorite Knick. Low key. Don't let David Smith hear you say that. Dwayne Dennis, I said this since last season, that there was an internal issue amongst certain players on this team. Okay. Paris Duggar, Jalen Brunson can't do what Cat can do. Oh my God. Somebody said that earlier in the season. I mean, in the show. Brahim, if we lose first round, trade everybody and build around Mo Diawara. All right now. All right now. Keith Turner, Brunson is a way better player than Cat. Let's not get delusional in here. It's too early for that shit. No, he said crap.
But we do need to get delusional in here. Get delusional. Where's he at? That's my guy.
Yeah, where's delusional? Yeah, where's delusional?
Dwayne Dennis, look how poorly Jalen Brunson played last night despite his 10 assists. I think he had 15, right?
15, yeah.
To the Villanova connection, that's not an issue, but everything that Cat does is put under a microscope. We about to talk about Brunson. Real talk in the next segment, Dwayne Dennis. So I hope you're still here for that. All right. Okay, Latour gave us a super chat for that. I appreciate that. Let's see, anybody else? Keith Turner, we didn't get Cat for rebounding. We need your big behind down in the paint scoring some points. He's not here for rebounding, or at least not for rebounding only. I would agree with that.
Yep.
Okay. David Smith, Cat was acquired for his elite offensive skills. Okay. All right. Let me see. Did I miss anything? Coach, appreciate you stopping in. The offense is bad. The offense. I mean, bad might be a little strong, Coach, but I'm watching it. And you know what it is? I think I have PTSD from that Knick team that played Miami. Early when Tibbs was here early, and we were like a top 5 defense, and we just could not score the ball. We have more shooters on this team, so I don't think it's going to be that bad. I've just seen an offense bogged down before because players that you're counting on just get really taken out of the game, taken out of the series. Curtis Young, Knicks defense can and has disrupted their opponent's offense. They're winning with extended stops in the second half of games. Absolutely. Knicks fans would rather a stalled offense than get Cat the ball. Okay.
Knicks fans.
Latoria, Cat is the key. If he isn't a big part of the offense, we lose, period. It's just not smart. Oh, okay. I didn't see that last part. Brown is a whole You know. Okay. But that's the problem. Brunson doesn't like or enjoy playing with Cat. Okay. Do you have to like or enjoy it, or do you have to make the best decisions? All right. Dwayne, Dennis, Stephanie, you need both in the playoffs. The game will slow down, and you have. Listen, again. There's a line. Like we're on the same page, right? I've said from the beginning, you cannot have a bottom 10 defense and expect to be a championship contender. I thought the Knicks offense was going to be stellar. And I thought they would be able to get away with if they were like 12-ish. But it's not stellar, you know? And the defense is better. So this is not an either or proposition, right? It's how do you have a good defense and still have a good enough offense? Okay. All righty. Curtis D. Young, the playoffs are a different animal. Cat will get his opportunities then. Brown is just developing options until then. Listen, we're talking a lot about Cat. I'll speak for myself. I don't care about Cat personally. I don't care that, Cat has to get shots. That's what it sounds like here. But for me, in this Chip Talk episode, it's my belief that your two best players have to be optimized. That's what it's about with Cat. It's not about Cat per se. Okay? I'm not Davis Smith, right? Or Daisy Smith. It's about, and maybe Mike Brown is seeing something we don't see, right? Maybe Mike Brown, listen, he has the experience. He's played with Golden State. He went to a finals with LeBron James. Maybe in his mind, he's saying we have a better chance this way. Right? We can disagree with him, but he could be saying, I think we have a better chance this way.
He gonna be looking at the games with us then and stuff. You'll score some damn points, get Cat the ball.
Latrell Spree is the Americ 6297. Spree, appreciate you rocking with us. You're welcome to join the panel if you would like. Does Mike Brown get fired if we lose second round to Boston? I don't think so. Do you guys think so?
I think Leon Rose might get fired if he loses.
But it might not matter. I think it depends on how I look. Context is everything when it comes to stuff like that. I think it depends on how I look.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg Towns was a superstar before Brunson even got any starting minutes, serious starting minutes in the league. We're going to get to Brunson.
That's a true statement, though.
Yeah, it's true. If you listen to if you're in other rooms, other content creators, other chats, it's the idea that Brunson doesn't get enough smoke. Brunson doesn't get enough, enough criticism. So we're going to talk about him. I don't know how much criticism he's going to get, but we're going to talk about him. A-Train is our keen basketball knowledge plus our resident comedian. 2 roles on this show. Don't like nothing brown right now, not even a paper bag.
Right.
I mean, I do think we have to give Brown credit for, the decision he made to improve the defense. And I think, some of that is due to Brunson and Cat stepping up, and some of it is also due to lineups as well. I don't think he leaned into the 5-out. I don't think he's going to give up, in my opinion, on the 5-out offense. Like, I just don't. I just don't think that's gonna happen. Okay, yeah, but one reason why they hired Mike is because they wanted a coach they can communicate with, and if that's the case, Leon should be bringing up getting Cat more involved. Okay, so you think the front office should be talking to him about it? Okay,
That's a good point, though. I think that's a good point.
okay. Mark Porter, 2691, appreciate you. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I have no problem with JB or Cat with consistent offense from Shaman and Blizzards. Love our chances. Listen. We wouldn't even be having this Cat conversation if Bridges and OG was them. Right? Remember early in the season when we asked the question like, listen, if this is going to be Bridges and if this is going to be OG, maybe their baskets is just as good as Cat. Right? And then the season went on. and we saw. Let me know in the chat, the replay gang, if you think I'm being too down on Bridges and OG in terms of being reliable players in the playoff. Should I just take a more wait and see attitude, or do you think I'm just being a bit too down on them? Sherwin, our offense is outstanding. We are just not hitting the threes other than the corner. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's get into BK 1982. Appreciate you. Cat is a double player. JB is not. Okay. So what does that mean? He believes Cat is Batman and JB is Robin. Oh boy, we got David Smith brother in the building.
What does that? Josh Hart is a double player.
Right. What is that? Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. A-Train doesn't really believe they're reliable on offense either. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on them. But let's talk about Brunson. I think Brunson's David Smith says Cat Nation is growing exponentially. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, David Smith. Cat Nation was always there. Like it was always there. But you were shadow boxing. You had no idea what everybody else was saying. I remember last show we were all talking how Cat is valuable to this team, and I look in the comments. David Smith, everybody want to get rid of Cat. I'm like, what is he looking like? What show is he listening to?
Right, trade deadline is over.
Yeah, you know. So
his first comment is the Cat haters. He didn't even read the room and see what we talking about.
He's like the Cat haters, and next comment, salute to the panel.
All right, let's talk about Brunson. A lot of talk that he's a ball hog, that we can't win with him as the best player. For some people, it's because of his size. For other people, it's because of his floor game. For others, it may be because he hogs the ball, right? He's playing a little different, in my opinion, in Mike Brown's system. He's playing a little different than even the beginning of the season, in my opinion. But if the Knicks are going to get out of the Eastern Conference and make it to the NBA Finals, it's going to be because Brunson is playing at his ceiling and that he's at the top of his game. So what have you seen from him in Mike Brown's system compared to last year? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And what do you think? Who does Brunson have to be for this team to get to the NBA Finals, right? Some may say he just needs to become a distributor. We'll get there. Delusional say he need to turn it up, in the playoffs. What have you seen this year compared to last year, and where does he need to be for this team to make it out of the East, make it out of the East? Ajay, then Jerrell, Nick Nation, Geoff,
For this Knicks team,
for this Knicks team. Have you seen any difference from in his game from this year to last year?
the whole team,
Hmm?
the whole
Brunson.
you talk about Brunson,
Brunson.
in relationship to the whole team.
No. What have you seen from him this season compared to last season in terms of how he's playing, his role, any changes, and what do you want? Who does he need to be for the Knicks to get to the finals?
Listen, so he's playing, in my opinion, he's playing the same way he played last season.
Okay.
And I think a couple of shows ago I alluded to that. Like he didn't, like we really expected second season with Cat or whatever. Like he would have Cat more involved in, but obviously it actually went south from there. It went the other way. So he's playing the same way he's always played. The difference this season is he had I don't know if the rest of the league is making a more conscious effort to slow him down. They double team him or triple team him a lot more this season, trying to get the ball out of his hands or whatever. So this season he has more bad games than he did last season, right? That's why like you don't hear them talk about John Brunson MVP or none of that stuff. But in my opinion, he's playing the same way. He's and in terms of, I mean, do we want to go into what has to be done for this team to
specifically him? Does he need to do anything different, or do you feel like he just needs to continue doing what he's doing now?
I you know what, and I've said many times, if the rest of the team is not hitting the shots, I want Brunson to just shoot the ball as much as possible if he's hitting it. But I want to go back on that. I really think he should get the other guys involved more, because the other guys has shown that they can hit the shot when they touch the ball. Okay, so and by involving other guys, I don't mean drive under the basket and when you spray it out to Josh Hart. Okay, you have to be smart about it. And them freezing out Cat, I hate to go back to that, but passing the ball to Josh Hart in the pick and roll, that's not your best option, because I don't know how many times I get really frustrated when I see Josh Hart pass on those. Listen, man, even if you don't think, I don't know, I understand he doesn't have confidence, but take the shot. You hit a couple of them, like the other team's defense is gonna have to play differently. You know what I'm saying? So Brunson just needs to be a little bit smarter. He can play. Obviously, right? He's all NBA, but he just needs to be a little bit smarter in terms of team ball. I don't know if it's Brunson or the coach, and I think you alluded to that earlier, Queen. When we have a guy on the team who's hot, we don't go back. We all of a sudden we stop, and we did the same thing last season. If the guy's hot, man, just keep feeding him until he cools off, until he gets stopped. We're
I don't
not
think it's
doing
our offense, though. I think it's that motion offense, that read and react. And Cat even said it one time. He said our offense is such that we don't take advantage of mismatches. You just play the same way each time.
That's not winning basketball.
Oh.
That's not championship winning basketball. Yeah, you win the game in the regular season because, like I said, those guys are very talented. But if you when you're playing for the chip, it's not just talent. Like you gotta be smart. You gotta use all your advantages, right? You gotta take advantage of everything you possibly can, because the other team is doing that. They are taking advantage of the mismatches. They are taking advantage of guys' strength or your guys' weaknesses they're attacking. So it's a combination of all that brings the chip home. So I think we need to play smarter. So it's really not just Brunson, it's the whole team. Like, I don't know if we're going to talk about yesterday's game at some point, right?
Hey, chip talk. Well, I mean,
it helps.
The context of that.
Yes, it helps make a point, right? Yesterday it was clear that every time the starting lineup gets on the floor, we lose. We're in the minus. Coach Brown was hell bent on going back to that starting lineup. I mean, this is a game we lost by 3 points. I'm sorry. Listen, Shamet was having a great game. I'm cutting Josh Hart minutes by 2 or 3 minutes, putting Shamet on the floor for those 2 or 3 minutes and get better results. It was clear that Shamet was having a very good game, compared to Josh Hart. And Josh Hart, not that he did what he normally does, the hustle plays and all that good stuff. But him with the starting lineup, we weren't getting good results. And I'm not saying start Shamet, but yeah, play Josh Hart 90 seconds and bring Shamet in.
Okay. Or Bridges, if you feel like
or Bridges,
or if you feel like you need,
or Bridges, or even DOR. Like he had very limited minute. Like he made 1 or 2 little mistakes, and it's not a. There was a situation yesterday. You remember my text to you? I said, if I see Hawk Porty play 1 more second, I'm gonna lose my age because and you made me realize, you know what, we don't have Mitch, so we really don't have another choice, but we did, and he put in Sohan for a couple of minutes or so. And in my opinion, DOR was having such a bad game. Like if you just go small, it couldn't have been worse, but. Yeah, we just got to play smart. We have the talent, and we have the guys we have the experience. It's just the IQ is lacking sometimes, and that's the whole team, not just the coach, not just Brunson, not just like the entire team.
All right, but we talking about.
I know, but Brunson, but everybody else follows the same thing. But
gotcha. Geoff. I mean, Ajay. I mean. Jerrell,
I'll go again.
And Steph,
y'all look like.
I'm gonna go quick because we still got Mike Brown to go to. It's already
yes.
Just real quick, I think the people who usually have a problem with Jalen Brunson's game is usually people that think he's supposed to be Jason Kidd, and like he's a scoring point guard. I don't even think he's a point guard. Like I've said it multiple times, I think we should move him to the 2 and get a real point guard in here. But other than that, like it's only been recently that he's been distributing a little bit more. For the season, he actually shooting more than he did last year. So I think if Jalen Brunson's shots were falling, I don't think anybody will be complaining about anything. I mean, he actually playing defense a little bit better. The only difference between last year and this year is that his shooting splits are down a little bit. Other than that, he's actually shooting more, and his assist is down by like 1. So I think once he starts hitting, all of this negative Brunson's talk will go out the window. He still needs to clean up a lot of stuff when it comes to his floor game and senseless turnovers sometimes and inopportune times and stuff like that. But that's just him. That's just him needing to get better as a player. But how he's playing, I don't view it that differently compared to what he did last year at all.
Good enough to get us to the NBA Finals.
The way he's playing, no, because of the shooting. Like if his shots are hitting, I think Brunson will turn into Brunson again. I don't think anybody can guard him, especially in the playoffs. But if he's not hitting and the rest of his game remains the same, then no, we won't win.
Okay. All right. Knick Nation, then Geoff.
Mine's are driven, I guess, more by 3 points for Brunson. 1, ego. 2, recognizing what scheme that you guys need to utilize in order to project this offense to get it better. And 3, recognizing what the team is actually doing to you to get it out and get it better. And I harped a little bit what I mean. Ego, because Brunson tends to get into ego-driven times against other players, where he goes at a player and other players going back at him, a guard, and that score for score. You can see it gets that look in his eye and that attitude about him and that edge about him that you recognize, when you going against somebody verse-wise. So I recognize it pretty quickly when he gets into that mode. And to me, a lot of times it's things like that that can take away from the team, because now he's being self-motivated and self-driven and not team-driven. That becomes a thing. He needs to mature at times in that. You can see at times where, you know, somebody may say something to him, like his father may say something at times, but Mike Brown really needs to hone him in at times when he gets like that. As far as my second point, scheme, because a lot of times as he starts to bang his head and going against somebody to bring the ball up, detriment to the team, because now we're getting into our offense much slower, and that doesn't help for the point of the system. The third point, recognizing the double teams much faster, or whatever that they're trying to do to stunt our offense. That's on him. He is supposed to be the captain guy of that, to recognize that and get us out of that. Even before Mike Brown makes a call or says something, those two need to be on the same page. And as the point guard, he has to recognize it, because there's plenty of times where he is double teamed, where all of a sudden he's working through it. But I have to caveat that also, that certain points of the scheme has to be better, where we recognize it too and get out of it faster and get past it faster. We can get those. If he can clean those little couple of things up, you know, I think it's a plus for the team. You know what I mean? But, and also the one other end point is that too, when we do go bad, or we do go what's name left or right, yeah, Brunson, he has to take the blame, and what's name, which he does. He steps up and he'll take it and put it on the shoulders, because honestly, we can't keep giving him the praise, and then when we lose, well, all of a sudden we all blame Cat or blame this one or that one. Brunson's ultimately still the captain. He has to, before the coach even says other things, is he's got to come to the players, recognize it, and say something and get it cleaned up as a team. That's my take on that.
Yeah, Jeff?
I don't know. Brunson is Brunson. Like, I think that since the Indiana game, he's tried to play a different way, and I think it's affected his effectiveness. I don't think he's been as good a player when he's trying to be like, let's not try and turn him into Jason Kidd, as Jerrell said. Let him be Jalen Brunson. And is that going to be perfect the way that everybody wants to play? Maybe not, but let's not forget, this guy is a playoff riser. Like, this is unquestionable playoff riser. This is a guy who came in and carried us through multiple rounds of the playoffs, a couple years in a row, with terrific play, and at one point, putting up 35, 40-point games on a consistent basis. I mean, going shot for shot with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum rather in the playoffs last year, in the Boston game. So he is a terrific player. And I know that probably David is going to put the -26 in the Eastern Conference Finals that he always puts down. He doesn't seem to have a problem with the fact that Cat was -18 in the loss to Oklahoma City yesterday. So I think he just uses plus minus when it goes to his point, and he ignores it when it doesn't. But so I think it matters to a certain extent, but I think that context is important as well, is all I'm saying. And I think that I think that you got to let Brunson be who he is. And I think it was BKNY who said it. I think maybe one of the solutions is to have more lineups where you have Alvarado and Brunson out there together. I know it's small, but I love the point of attack that you get from defense from Alvarado, and you have another playmaker on the floor. And I kind of disagree with what Nick Nation said earlier. I really like what I've seen from Alvarado with this team. I think he is a natural playmaker. I think he does get a lot more assists than he does turnovers. Only thing I would agree with Nick Nation about is he does need to make shots. We can't have him be a 31% shooter or less, and play him reasonable minutes. But everything else, I think, as far as his process, how he runs the team, how he gets our players involved, how he's able to run the pick and roll with Towns, and get lob passes to Mitchell Robinson and get him active. I think all of those are things that we can use, and Brunson plays really well, off the ball, and you can save his energy for the fourth quarter a little bit more if you're able to play him off the ball some. And I think that was one of our weaknesses in the OKC game last night, is we played him the entirety of the fourth quarter instead of giving Alvarado a chance to get in there and give him a rest. And so he's fresher. And I think if his legs are under him a little bit more, then he shoots better in the fourth quarter. So especially on the second night of a back-to-back. So, I actually really like the concept of Jalen Brunson at the 2, but I don't think he needs to metamorphosize his game just to suit a particular style of play. Like, Brunson is an all NBA player because of how he plays. Like, let's not try and change him. Let's try and, put the pieces around him that are going to make him the most effective.
Yeah. I definitely don't want to change him, but a little refinement, I see a huge difference in Brunson this year than last year. I think he's less ball dominant. I know people say that he's still dominating the ball. It's nothing like it was last year, where every single time he's bringing the ball up, every single time he has the ball for about 13 seconds, because he's not a quick guy. He's a shifty guy. So he has to dribble. He got to use his footwork. He has to try to get the defender off balance, and that takes time. And that was pretty much every single possession of every game last year. And I think Mike Brown has really talked to him about, moving off the ball quicker. Is it as ideal as some people would like? No, but I do think he moves. He doesn't do that as much as he did last year. And I also think since that Indiana game, to Jeff's point, he's whenever there's a double team, he moves the ball really, like he just gets off of it. He drives to the basket. He gets to the basket. Like this, I don't particularly care for this. There's been a few times in the last few games he'll drive. He's almost at the rim for his teardrop, and he's passing it out to the 3-point line. I'm like, okay, like I understand the spray concept, but let's calm down a bit. Like, you right here for for a layup. So I think, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't want him pounding the ball the way he did last year. I feel that since the Indiana game, in my opinion, he's been less aggressive offensively. And maybe it's just because his shots aren't falling, right? Maybe that's the way it looks. But I just feel like he's just not him. I feel like he's playing more within the confines of the offense. And I just want to see a better balance there. I have a problem with an equal opportunity offense. I do. But I also have a problem with, Brunson just pounding the ball on every single possession. I think it is about finding that balance. He doesn't look like himself to me since that Indiana game. Doesn't look like himself to me. Besides the fact that he's not shooting, besides the fact he's not shooting it well, I think he's trying to play a different way. And let's just see how it works out. I know some people are happy that he's getting OG and Bridges and everybody else involved, but these are all cats that, may or may not come through. So that doesn't mean not pass them the ball. So I'm not sure if I'm making my point, that well. I'm not saying that he shouldn't pass them the ball or try to get them involved. I just think that it's at the end of the night, when you see Brunson has 15 points and 15 shots and Shamet has 14, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, yeah. Anyway, it remains to be seen the way Brunson is playing this year in this particular offense, the way Mike Brown wants to run it. It remains to be seen whether that is a recipe for a championship run or get into the NBA Finals. I think your best players have to be who they are. Does he need to refine his game some, his floor game? We talk about this all the time. I've even said he may be better as a shooting guard, bringing in a point guard to Jerrell's point. But you can't just be one of the guys. You just can't be one of the guys if you're talking about winning the championship. And maybe I'm not watching the games close enough. I am a little jet lagged, so maybe I'm not watching the games close enough. But lately, he just looks like one of the guys on the court. Just looks like one of the guys. Like if you were to watch the game and you were like, well, who's the best player? I don't know who the best player is, you know? So I don't know if this Brunson, the way he's been playing, is, you know, is the guy, where he's been playing of late, is the guy that's getting us to the NBA Finals, is the head of the snake that's leading this team to the NBA Finals. I think my issue is a little different this time. Before it was more about his floor game and the balance. Now it's more about his lack of assertiveness and just, I don't want to say too much passing because I don't want all the tomatoes, but I think just that the balance is off the other way, just a tick the other way. So we'll see. We shall see. But for all of those who feel like Brunson is a ball hog, I don't know if you can say since that Indiana game he's been hogging the ball.
And he had 10 points in the fourth quarter and the big three at the end of the third quarter against the Raptors to put that puppy to bed. So, I mean, I didn't hear a lot of complaints about Brunson's play at the end of the Raptors game.
Okay, rebuild NYK. I believe it will pay off in the long run. I hope you're right. Leon Mitchell, appreciate you rocking with us. I promise you we will die in the first round. Not the first round. Not the first round. Latrell Sprewell. The Americ. When we are talking about a chip, you have to hold your best player to elite Michael Jordan standard. Brunson is a great player, but he has flaws, and is it perfect? And we are trying to help him. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Anything else on Brunson? We don't all have to. We don't all have to agree. You know, last year there were some of these series where you could say Brunson was the best player on the floor. So you think about Jaylen Brown in Boston and how he's playing right now. Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland, how they've been playing since James Harden got there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Cade Cunningham, the Joker. Will Brunson be the best player in any of these series? And does it even matter? Because the team around him is just that much better.
Good question.
All right. Anything else about Brunson? All right. Let's move on to Brown. Geoff, almost, again, 19 games left. What have you? Is he the guy? Is he the guy?
So.
Do you have confidence from what you've seen in Mike Brown up to this point that he's the guy to get the players have to show up too. Don't get me wrong. Players have to show up too. That he's the guy that's getting us to the NBA Finals.
I don't think so. The reason I say no is because I think that a coach maximizes their best players first. And I don't think he's maximizing either one of our best players right now. In fact, I think you can make the case that both of those guys have regressed from an offensive standpoint. They're playing better defense, I'll admit. I think Towns' defense has been pretty good and solid and not iffy at all, in fact. So I think he does deserve some credit for that. But I don't think he utilizes the strengths of this team. I never like it when a coach puts their system ahead of the talent that he's putting on the floor. You match your system to the talent that you have, and that way you get the best results. Because otherwise, you trying to fit round pegs into square holes. Why are we playing a guard-centric system when we have one of the best offensive scoring big men in the history of the universe? Like that to me is crazy. Like, and I get it. It is what it is. I'm resigned to the fact that that's the game plan. I understand that that's what it's going to be, but I think that's a total misuse of assets by Coach Brown. If you want to talk about things that he's done well, I think that he's worked well with some of our young players. Diawara has looked fantastic. And I think we had moments from Tyler Kolek where he's looked really good. I think that he's done a good job utilizing Landry Shamet as well. So I think that there are definitely successes. But to me, I don't think he's maximizing the strengths of our best players. And that's a mistake, in my opinion. That's the best coaches get the most out of their elite talent. And I don't think that he's doing that with Brunson. And I'm not sure that he's doing it with Towns either.
Do you think part of his calculus is, we talked about this earlier, these, they scored a lot last year and we didn't make it to the NBA Finals. We have to find a different, we have to find a different way. And, in fairness to him, he started the season the same way, right? And I think when he saw that the offense, it was just untenable. Like as good as the Knicks were offensively, that's how bad they were defensively. And that changes had to be made. Do you think he went too far? Or are you of the belief that he could have improved the defense and still maximized those guys? Or are you of the belief that we kind of talked about this earlier, talking about Cat. But yeah, whatever you want to say about that.
Well, I think that he does some things well. I think he's experimented with his rotations well. I think he's found some combinations that have worked. He's gotten more out of the double big lineup than I would have expected. So it's not all bad. I mean, and we do have 40 wins. We're on pace to, we have a strong end of the regular season. We easily could win more games than we did last year. So, and with all the changes that we've made, I think, and the injuries that we've battled through, I think that would be, a positive sign. But again, we don't really judge this team. We're not going to judge this team based upon regular season performance at all. It's all a moot point until we see what they do in the postseason. How, and if you're right, and you may possibly be that resting up and doing it this different way has them charged where they can kick it into another higher gear come playoff time, and we get to April 13th and then we're 16-0 and we're in the Canyon of Heroes and everything like that, then yeah, okay, but it's all going to be based upon what he does in the playoffs. I mean, and he knew that coming in. Like the regular season is nice, and I think we almost have regular season fatigue at this point, right? We've been through so much, and it's like, yeah, it's the up and down, the roller coaster, or the inconsistency, the this, the that, and the other thing that and it's like, let's get to the playoffs and see really where we're at, because even a gauntlet like this week it pales in comparison to what the playoffs are actually going to look like. And until we see how does he make in-game adjustments in the playoffs, how does he handle the rotation in the playoffs, how quick a hook does he have on a guy like Josh Hart, for example, if he's having a bad shooting game and the offense is crumbling into nothing, is he able to adjust on the fly and put someone else in and be comfortable with a Landry Shamet or a Mohamed Diawara, whoever the case may be? I think all of those things remain to be seen. I don't think he's done a whole lot that I've seen that gives me a ton of confidence that he's going to be quick to make the right adjustments. I think he's been kind of slow in that regard in general this season, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until, it's not fair to knock him until the performance goes downhill, right? I think he's done it.
It's more about your confidence in him, but
right?
Yeah.
But but in order to be fair, I think you got to say, well, the regular season. Let's see what he does in the playoffs, and if he has some struggles in the playoffs, then we have to have a conversation, because this team was at a higher point than the previous 3 seasons, and so that's going to be the judge. So it's really too soon, but as far as confidence that he's got to be the guy to get it done, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 3 or a 4.
Okay. Jerrell, Ajay, and then Nick Nation.
See, a lot of the stuff that I was going to say, Geoff said already. So I'm gonna try to put it another way. I don't feel comfortable with him. Like, I'll just go to your second question first. I don't feel that comfortable with him for all the reasons that Geoff said. But I do, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because, like Geoff said, the playoffs is how we really judge this. All of this could just be data that he's collecting when it comes to certain stuff. He won't be judged. This team shouldn't be judged until we get to the playoffs to see how far we go. But yeah, the stuff that he's doing, I don't really get it, especially on the offensive end. Yes, this team did need a kick in the butt when it comes to defense, but it's not like our defense was terrible. We got that far last year with our defense being like that. Yeah, so it's just the offensive side of the ball. Players getting the ball where they need to get them, and they just need to be smarter. But until the playoffs happen and I see how everything shake up, it's almost like an incomplete if it's going to be like grading a report card or something like that, or I'll just give him a C, because it's not like I can't praise him or crap on him too much right now. Like, the season isn't over yet. But am I confident that he's going to get us to the finals? No. I might not go a 3 or 4. I might 5, 6, but it's not strong.
Okay. Ajay?
Right now, I don't think he is, but I didn't, when he got hired, I remember all these shows were like, oh, it's finals or bust, championship or bust. And I came on this show. I said, well, why are we expecting this man to go that far on year one? I didn't think that was realistic. And I right now, is either one to take us to the final, is either one to take us to the chip, to get us to the championship. There's a lot of other parameters, right? Who in the summer, who saw Detroit Pistons coming?
Well, I knew they would be better.
Yeah, they not. You knew they would be better. You didn't know they were going to be the best in the East. Like, yeah, we all knew they were going to be better. We saw that. Like, they were very young, very athletic, very, and I was, Jerrell, I don't know if he was watching the show, the passion they have for the game. If he's watching the game, they just lost against San Antonio. They're genuinely pissed off that they lost one game. Like, at the end of the game, they were like playing, literally trying to hurt because they lost. Like they have a passion that I don't know. There's a lot of things that you didn't see coming. So you really can't. Again, there's a lot of parameters that there's a lot of things that have to fall into place to be able to judge. Is he capable of? I think he's capable of, but I don't think maybe this season's not the good season to judge that. So if your question is, just think about this season. I don't see it happening. That doesn't mean
Are you confident in him? We're not talking about just the players, because the players have to perform too. Like I do think sometimes we put so much on a coach when a team doesn't advance, and we don't look enough at player performances. The players do have to perform. But from what you've seen from Mike Brown, his adjustments, his lineups, how he's handling the team, are you confident?
I could go into like each one of those things you mentioned, right? The lineups, like for the most part, I like the fact that he does unconventional stuff sometimes. Like he'll throw a guy here that gets you good results, right? But in more recent games, maybe I wasn't paying attention in the beginning. I pay attention more now, and he does a little bit of what Tibbs used to do, is like die on the hill with a guy that doesn't have it, and moving away from the guy who's hot. Like I just, to me, mathematically, that just doesn't work. Like it never does. So I don't understand why they choose just to go with their guy, the guy they preferred, as opposed to the guy who's having a good game or the guy who's performing well on a particular night. You know what I'm saying? So am I confident? I think he can, but I wouldn't bet my last dollar on it at this point. I would still give him, if we were grading, I would still give him a good grade, because he's a very capable coach. But there's a lot of other things that come into play. I don't like the way they're using Cat. I don't like the way, and you alluded to that in shows in the past, the way he's calling out Cat in public and stuff like that. And I really hate him hugging and kissing on the other teams after God, that gets under my skin. Man, I don't want, shake the guys in, keep it moving, man. You talk about like, hey man, remember 2 years ago we went out, we had all that on the court. I don't want to hear all that nonsense, man. The guy just wiped the floor with your team. Just move on.
Not hugging and kissing.
Hugging and kissing. Me, I want to walk by the other coach and elbow him in the face for treating me that way. This guy hugging and kissing and talk about like the stuff they did in the past, man. I don't want to hear all that, man. So, I feel the jury's still out, but right now I'm not confident that he's the guy, but it's the NBA. We like, and I've said it time and again, we have a very talented team. In the playoff, these guys might decide to show up and be the very talented team that they are and perform better. So
I just want to say, I do think not taking advantage of mismatches and not going back to a hot player, I think that's just scheme. Like, just like some players, some coaches, they have their set rotation when players go in and out of a game, and they feel like over the course of a season, sticking with that is going to get them better results than keeping a player in because they're hot and messing with the rotation minutes. I think it's the same way. I think it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to come out of our offense for a hot player. I don't want to come out of our offense for a mismatch. We're just going to run our plays, and if it goes that way, it goes that way. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think it's scheme. I don't think it's the
Queen. So the thing is, because he's shown flexibility in that sense, that's why I expect him to kind of read the game and kind of quote unquote, Tibbs used to say the game tells you what to do, but he still had, this guy come out at the 4-minute, 30-second mark every game. That game ain't telling you to do that every game, but Mike Brown has shown that versatility, that flexibility. That's why I was expecting and kind of hoping that he would go the other direction and not being hell bent and stuck on scheme, as opposed to reading the game and saying, you know what, this guy, with this guy on the floor, we are minus, 20. Let me just cut down his minutes and give the guy who's plus 12 more minutes. Like you got to have that stat in real time. You got to have it. Like you have like 100 guys on your staff. One of the guys got to be able to be whispering in your ear, coach, we're getting better result with Shamet in the lineup than with Josh Hart at this point. Play him a couple more minutes. I'm just, hoping that I was hoping that the flexibility would lead him to do that.
But does he have to be flexible in every respect? Like, don't you think he's been flexible in some respects
he has been. That's because he has been in some aspects of the game. I was hoping he'd be flexible in that part of the game, but he hasn't, So and sometimes the scheme, you got to change it around, even if it's for a couple of minutes, I mean, in a game like yesterday, I hate to go back to that game. We lost by 3 points. One more Shamet minute made a difference.
How about one more shot? The Knicks shot.
One more shot. Or
27 or 28% from three.
Yeah, or one more shot. Listen, so yesterday, and sometimes you watching the game and looking at the stats is like two different things. I'm watching the game yesterday. I'm thinking, man, Mikal Bridges, he's really playing where he had a good. And I'm like, oh man, this guy was 6 foot like 18 or something. I didn't even realize he took that many shots watching the game. Or he missed that many shots. But yeah, like you said, yeah, or make 2 more shots or hit a couple more free throws. Again, I'm just hoping he shows that flexibility a little more.
Okay. All right. Knick Nation.
Let me see here. I got to turn sideways a little bit. You know why I'm turning sideways? Because I'm looking at some of them with a side eye. Because a month ago, we had a segment where we talked about the coach, and everybody gave him a pretty good high grade. I think I gave him a minus C, a C minus, and I was looked at like, what? Only like, but I see, quite a bit of joint my my passions here. So, but and Ajay, I still didn't get out what Ajay was saying. Steph, you was right. He be waffling. I still there's a waffle soup over there, man. Because I still didn't really get what he was the full answer of what he was saying there. Yeah. So so is he good or is he bad? You know what I mean? So I don't know. But I'm gonna say for Mike Brown, yeah, he it's always like you say, if any, we don't know the results. So it's a lot of questions. We definitely have questions. I do fault him for not impressing, early on his stamp onto the team in certain aspects. I got to kind of how to put it on his shoulders where players are still saying, well, two things can be right on this one. Where players are still saying that they don't know their roles at certain times. But I also have heard him say as well a few times that he's trying to simplify things for guys. So if we're not in the room, we're not really sure what the IQ sometime of some of these players, because some things is like, some guys are picking certain things up, some guys are lost. So at this stage of it, I still got to put a lot of onus on Brown for not having a full stamp on this game early enough. We have 19 games to go. Can he get it where these guys understand and have it down pat, his system? Can he create some more nuances on offense and more ball rotations? But there's a lot of things that these guys do as well. The two things can be right thing is that there's a lot of things that these guys do as well, which kind of retard Mike's system. Because when you don't get off, really predicated on ball movement and getting past half. So there's a lot of times where it gets back to where they don't recognize. So it's hard to really pinpoint and lock down who exactly what it is, but ultimately S rolls downhill. So at that point, you know what I mean? But we still got to put on the leader point of the team in that direction. And right now, I'm still going to give Brown. Actually, I've moved Brown things up. I've given him now to apply a C+ to a B flat because the defense has come along. So with that being said, I'm giving him a hard B. Do I think he can get us to a championship point? Yeah, because I'm still going to be optimistic because I'm a Knick fan. So there's still going to be that optimism in my heart. And I think that, and I'm hoping that in these 19 games that they can refine a few things and clean up and, all of the other stuff, because it'll be now, this will be the real season coming. So I got to kind of forget a lot of that other stuff and wipe it clean. Because if we're saying the playoffs is a different animal, it is a truly different animal then I will judge him hard line when we get into those playoff points. Yeah. So right now, I'm gonna say, I'm a waffle a little bit, but I'm gonna say it's to the heart. I think he can get us there. I'm still gonna be optimistic and say he can get us there to a championship.
Okay. BKNY 1982. You are telling on yourself.
Gotta go to Mo.
Hey, man.
I mean, you got to be of a certain age to remember.
Models, man.
I'm pretty sure everybody in our audience and everybody on this panel knows about Gotta Go to Mo's. We did the average age of this chat and this panel is like 78.
You old as hell, man.
There was people saying there was Knick fans since 1927.
Oh boy. He said I'm old.
Salute to Models, man.
Salute to Models. Is it even still in business?
No, I don't think so.
They're out. They're out,
so.
I believe.
All right.
Say Dick Sport.
Crazy. What was that?
I get
Crazy Eddies.
All the models I've seen close, but believe they still got VIMs around though.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I still see a couple of them around.
Wow.
Those are still in business.
That's a blast.
I'm bringing back Crazy Eddies though. I'm bringing back Crazy Eddies, so don't worry about it.
Their prices are insane.
Insane.
If you can find him, Crazy Eddie fell off the face of the
East Brew Drew said, remember, nobody beat the way. I used to work at the way.
Nobody used to.
Yeah, nobody.
Remember, he's here every other. The only reason he's not here tonight is because Deuce is on the injured list, so he doesn't like us no
more. Keith Turnip. If I was patient with Tibbs, I damn sure can be patient with Mike Brown because Tibbs used to run my blood pressure up. But you weren't patient with Tibbs. You weren't patient. You wasn't patient with Tibbs.
Yeah, just because they didn't fire him when you wanted them to, that don't mean you was patient.
Right.
Somebody was patient.
It was just patient wasn't in his mind, Jerrell. He felt like he was more than patient. He wanted him gone after week 1. He took 5 years. That's a lot of patience.
Okay. All right. Anything else? If you guys want to, I mean, we kind of talked about OG and Bridges. I think the top panel agrees in terms of not being able to trust them offensively in the playoffs. Before we close out, I'll give Knick Nation and Ajay an opportunity to weigh in on that.
As far as what are we weighing in on again now? I'm sorry.
OG and Bridges, do you trust those guys in the playoffs offensively to come through for you? And you can even add defensively if you want.
Oof. That's been a sticking point. Particularly, I'm gonna say that, yeah. And the reason why I'm gonna say yeah is that I'm hoping that these guys have another level. I'm hoping that Mikal, doing all this other stuff that he does, he plays and avoids this physical contact, that he's saving something for another level. I'm going to be optimistic. I've been rolling with my boy on KRT for a minute, Divine Soldier. I told him the other day I want him at my funeral because I think he can bring me back. So there's you know what I mean, it's rubbed off. So I'm gonna say that that when the playoffs come, it's another animal, and I think that they have another notch that they can turn up. And I'm like I say, I'm gonna try to be positive and optimistic and say that we can.
Okay. All right. Ajay?
So listen, Bridges, OG and Mikal Bridges are third and fourth option, right? And
not on this team.
No, what?
It's Brunson, and then everybody else is the second option, just depending on depending on how the ball, you know,
should be. Okay, they should be. It should be Brunson, Cat, and then they third and fourth depending on the game. It could be third and fourth, fourth and third, doesn't matter. I haven't seen anything this season that make me think that Mikal Bridges can turn it up on defense in the playoffs. I think OG Anunoby can. I mean, he's primarily a defensive player. He give you more on offense. He's been, even though the stats don't tell you that, but I think when you watch the game, when he's scoring, he's scoring. So he's, he's been all right on offense. And Mikal Bridges, we've had a couple of good games out of, but I'm not gonna again bet my last dollar on Mikal Bridges coming through in the playoffs. I think more so OG Anunoby probably, we can count on him. I mean that's that. And if the team was functioning the way it shows on paper, these guys again would be third and fourth options offensively. So whatever you can get from them, be it 12, 14, 15 points, it's a blessing. And primarily our scoring should be coming from Brunson and Cat. So, I mean, yeah. But if I had to pick one of the two, it would be OG Anunoby because he's been very good defensively.
JJ said OG averaged 12 points into. Boy, you guys remember these? I know David Smith walks with a scroll. So he has, he has all this, but some of you guys can run this stuff off really quick. OG averaged 12 points and 2 rebounds in the playoffs last year. Yeah. Wow. Wow. All right.
Can we?
Yeah.
Can we spend 60 seconds on the game yesterday? I know you had the show earlier.
Yes. And we didn't even talk about the bench either, but yeah, what do you want to say? Well, hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, please don't do that. No, I don't need.
Put him on that.
Put him back up there. Come on.
Put him up. You can do it. You can do it, brother. You can do it. We in the back. We in the background. I got you.
So first thing I'm gonna say is, listen, this is not ESPN, so we don't have to be politically correct. We don't have to worry about the NBA. Listen, right at tip off, you know which way the refs was gonna go in that game. You know which way. Like I have no problem blaming the refs for the game. On a game that we lost by 3 points, I am gonna say the ref determined the outcome of the game. Okay, I'm sorry. Again, this ain't ESPN. I'm not worried about the this sponsor pulling because I said that. I don't give it them. Okay, I don't think it's rigged. I don't think the NBA rigged it, but I think one of the refs maybe had something to do. I don't know what they do in the price picks or something like that. I don't know. I would check the refs' phones to see what they had money on. But right from the tip, you know which way this game was gonna go. And just the fact that it was only a 3-point, and a lot of guys had terrible games, right? Brunson didn't shoot the ball well. You look at, Cat, who was shooting well, only took 8 shots. Somehow, we only lost by 3 points. So I don't know if OKC had a bad game or we had like a great game just to make it be, and we almost tied the game. So I think that was horrible. And I know we just talked about Mike Brown. I like Mike Brown. I give him an A-, Nick Nation. When we talked, I still think he's an A guy. But listen, you got to read the game better. Okay, Mike Brown, you really need to do a better job at reading the game. Okay, you have to know by halftime that he's not touching the ball. He's not getting enough shots. You have to know by halftime that Brunson's not having a good night. Yeah, you want Brunson to keep shooting because you want him to get out of the funk, but you still got to find a way to get other guys involved. And the other guys are not Josh Hart standing at the 3-point line and passing. That's just not how you're going to win a game. You know, I mean, think about it. Again, 3-point, it's a 3-point loss. Any one of those, more DOR in there for another 90 seconds could have made the difference. Or Landry Shamet, who those guys were having great games. You know, in a game where you don't have Mitchell Robinson. I thought the Knicks, you know, the team battled and they did what they had to. They did their part to win the game. I feel like the coach didn't read the game right.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't read the game right. There was a lot of blunders yesterday, coaching the game. So, I mean, you know, we start the game, the starters went down. You change a couple of pieces, we take the lead. Like somehow he found it the right thing to do is to go back to the starters. Who, you know, I think to start the fourth quarter, the fourth quarter we had a 3-point lead. He goes back with the same starting lineup, and then we went in the hole, never got out of it. Mike Brown, you got to do a better job at reading the game.
I will say this, and I don't always want to be the resident coach protector because I've made my feelings known on Mike Brown, and it really hasn't changed since then. Personally, I don't know enough about schemes to say that a coach didn't make the right call. Like, I feel like to say that a coach didn't make a right call, you got to know what the right call should have been and then say he deviated from that. And coaching is so dynamic that there really isn't a right call anyway, right? You taking in so much information in the moment, making the best decision based on that information. And 2 games from now in a similar situation, you may even go with a different call or a different lineup. I thought the game plan last night, I thought the game plan was on point. I thought, just in terms of you could see what they were trying to do defensively, at least. You know, they was giving Shea different looks in terms of personnel, in terms of whether they were playing him one-on-one, whether they were doubling. And I thought the Knicks execution was there as well on the defensive end. I agree with you. I didn't understand going with the starters in the fourth quarter, but maybe Geoff and I talked about this. Maybe he lost confidence in Alvarado and Diarra somewhere along the line and didn't want to go back to them in the fourth quarter, right? That could be part of the flexibility that we're talking about. Like he's like, you know what? I know what the lineup data says, but I kind of trust my starters here more than I trust, Diarra and Alvarado. Yeah, I didn't think Mike Brown was bad.
Queen. All right. So with 6 seconds left in the game,
sir.
Right? Six seconds left in the game, you need a 3-pointer to tie the game. Okay. Cat fouled out. So naturally you're gonna have Brunson, Shamet, OG, Mikal Bridges, right? So that 5th guy is Josh Hart. Like, why? What's he gonna do in a situation like this? How can Josh Hart help you in that?
Maybe he gets you an offensive rebound and get you a second opportunity, at the basket, because the play. Remember, the play. It was a drawn up play for Brunson. It's 6 seconds. It's not like it's gonna go through everybody on the court to get the best shot. It was a design play for Brunson, and I'm pretty sure there was like an option or 2 off of the play. And I'm pretty sure Josh Hart wasn't part of whatever that one or two option was coming off the play with 6 seconds left. So maybe his role was more, maybe he'll get an offensive rebound for us. It was a set play. That's the difference. It wasn't like a possession. It was a set play.
I got you. But he inbounded the ball. So his chances of getting a rebound like kind of dramatically drop by him being the guy inbounding the ball. So he's nowhere near under the basket when that rebounds together. You know what I'm saying? So it's not.
Well, maybe that was his role, that he trusted him, that he would get the ball, in to the right, to the right person. You wanted Diawara taking the ball out?
Just a better 3-point shooter. Somebody who could actually hit a shot.
But he took him, if he's inbounding the ball and it's a set play, maybe that effectively takes him out as an option. I mean,
and the set play worked. I mean, we got the shot that we wanted. We just didn't make it. So I
two shots.
We're picking at nits here. I mean, not only did we get one good look at it, we got two good looks at it. I mean, in 6 seconds, I don't think you're going to ask for much better than that. Make the shot. Either one of them. I don't care who. Like, you're not going to get better looks than they got.
We got the two shots, but I'm saying, I don't know. Some lineups, if it's 6 seconds, you need a shot. I'm putting 5 shooters on the floor.
But you don't.
But we did get the shot, so that's good.
But Ajay, there's a difference between having a possession of 24 seconds and you need a shot. So you're going to have to run through your offense. So you want to have shooters out there, and a 6-second shot. You understand what I'm saying? Where a lot of people aren't going to touch the ball in that situation.
And maybe he felt like Hart's our best inbound passer. Like that's the key. They may think that he's the best at throwing the ball inbounds, and you can quibble at that all you want to, but the key to that possession, you got to get the ball inbounds first and foremost, or nothing other. The rest of it matters. So if you consider him, and I'm not saying that they do, Ajay. I don't know who they did, but it's quite possible they thought Hart was the best guy that they have to throw the ball inbounds.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't. But my take on that point is they don't run but so many set plays, and the plays that they do probably run, Hart may know them better than anybody else who's coming in. So that's why maybe Hart, you know what I mean? That's why I'll split the baby with that and say maybe that Hart was in there. But mine's, it goes a little bit deeper in that. I think the major issue is Dolan. Dolan didn't pay whoever he has to pay to get these officials here to really stop dogging us. So that's my pen on that. Because anytime you go to a replay on, like, let's say on that OG thing, you go to the replay and still get it wrong by your definition of the rule. That guy still moved his foot at the last second as OG went to go rise. He moved his foot inside. And if you move your foot inside, that means you're not set. So how do they come back with some nonsense like that? And that, to me, altered a lot of point of the game. There are certain calls, and also where I got a little annoyed at it, where people start to believe like certain things, late calls. If you notice in the game point, there was a lot of where our calls, quick whistle, boop sometime. But on their calls, a lot of them, the whistle would come late, almost like he didn't make the shot, boop, let's blow the whistle now. When things like that begin to happen and it lapsed that point of that quick lapse, that's when we start looking at these officials like, are you serious? And then to go down on one end, a guy get ran over, and then Diawara on the other end gets a little touch foul. That's why you saw it. I just thought that Mike was a little emotional last night, and I think that's why those guys didn't come back in, because you could see when Diawara came over to the West name, how he cursed at Diawara, what he's exactly said, but you could see that like he kind of like, what the blah, 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 you know what I mean? Whatever was going on with it. But I just think that he was emotional on it, and he took some of his rage and issues out on Diawara. He's a young kid in that sense like that. So a lot of times, you know what I mean, that's going to come out. It's going to come out quickly. And I think Mike last night, I thought he was emotional. And I think that's why you didn't see those guys in the second point of certain parts of that fourth quarter or the second half of much at all, because, it's like anything else. He's a coach, but he wanted that win. You could tell he wanted that win more than anything. And I think that he just got a little emotional, and they beat us on attrition because they still brought in like what, 10, 12, 11 players, whatever they had on their side. So it just didn't work out for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, shout out to Mark Porter. Brown played JB the whole fourth quarter after playing a game before. For me, that's player management. Listen, get used to it. This is what happens. This is what happens in this is what's going to happen in the playoffs. So hopefully Brunson has an oxygen tank, a little mini oxygen tank, because he'll get a blow here and there, you know. But I hear you. He could have gave him some. He could have gave him some rest in you know, in the fourth quarter. If you notice, OKC didn't change their rotation at all. Shea sat for. I thought he wasn't even on the bench. He seemed to have sat
54 minutes and the game didn't even go to overtime.
How many minutes he played?
I said he played 54 minutes and the game didn't even go to overtime.
He wanted the game, and there's definitely some games where you're gonna ride your best player a little more than usual. Yeah. Anyway, any last words, Ajay? Anything else?
The refs.
You know that.
He's not gonna let it go. It's gonna be the Jaime Jaquez Jr. of 2025.
You know you have to get that off.
Next season, I'm gonna be talking about that game.
Yeah,
that egregious non-call on Shea. Yeah.
On Shea, the one Brunson runs him over. I mean, he runs Brunson over. You know which one I thought was even one of the worst ones too? On Alvarado. Alvarado goes up and what's his name? Jay Williams. Jay Williams hits him in his head twice. They called the foul, but then that should have been a technical foul because he hit him in the head twice. It was wind up and impact. Yep, wind up and impact twice on the head. And they just go, oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah, they were a hot mess last night.
Yeah,
like
bad.
Ajay gonna have it on his tombstone. He's gonna be like, the refs in the OKC game were the worst. Yep. I curse you forever.
That and the Nets game. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm letting that next go. That Dallas game, I'm still holding on to it. I'm still mad at you.
Listen, I was at that game. I was at the Dallas game. Remember, it was horrible.
Wow,
that was Martin Luther. That was Martin Luther King's. What's name, right? Yeah, it was Martin Luther King's.
It was.
It was horrible. That was horrible.
Wow.
I'm still mad at Tom Thibodeau for that game.
I dropped $3 I dropped $3 and change to go to that game.
You got fired, Ajay. You good, man? You're not here no more.
Yes, I better not see him on the street.
Remember
that game? Remember that Dallas game?
Kids wear your ass out.
I know, right? when kids come with me, see them call the ambulance.
Why is Ajay not on the show? Well, he's in the hospital.
Yeah, they're getting
he has kids that are running over on 44th Street.
Mollywopped him. Belt to ass.
Okay.
Is it after midnight? What is going on here?
It's close. It's close. Any last words?
Queen, thank you so much.
The next few games, man. What do you?
Oh man, you see, Ajay came in late. Now he want to extend the show.
No, just this last one. That's all.
He got to get his money worth.
I'm looking forward to it. Knicks is 4-1.
I'm 4-1 too. I think that back to back we lose one of those games. Maybe probably the second one, but I think we win all the other fours.
Who played the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Pacers.
I really don't want to lose to the Clippers. That second of back to back because they beat us. I hate getting swept by any team this season.
Listen, that Pacers game, that's not going to be a gimme at all. That's going to be a dogfight.
They're going to shoot 900% from the field.
Queens, stop it. They're getting blown out. Come on.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Knicks?
The Pacers are getting blown out. That's
Did you see the last game?
Don't lose any sleep. Don't lose any sleep on that
They
Pacers.
was trying to beat the brakes off of us last game, man.
Yeah, guys.
and they suck.
Write it down. We blowing them out. All right.
Okay. You know it is.
That's why Tom Thibodeau gonna come and beat the heck out of you on 44th Street.
Now you got me looking over my shoulders. Is Tom around?
Okay.
Oh, we played them like not back to back, but we played them Friday and Tuesday. The Pacers, we played them twice.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Next Friday and Tuesday.
As long as we beat the Lakers, I don't care. We got to beat the Lakers. I can't lose the Lakers.
I don't know how we're gonna do that because we play those teams back to back. That schedule's horrible, man. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's the
that's
same.
what, and that's another thing. Can I point that out? That I thought was egregious too. The NBA has to do a better job. Why would you put the number one market and your championships on back-to-back where you're not going to get a great game? You know that having, you know what I mean, those guys are at rest. Sometimes the NBA is his own worst enemy because that's not what a kind of product. That was ugly basketball yesterday. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For the average fan. And for you to put that out there like that, it makes it, to me, it just made no sense not to schedule that. Those two are the, you know what I mean? They're the champions, the largest market. You want to put them off on a back-to-back? It didn't make sense at all to me. But that's just me.
Yeah. And at least the first game of a back-to-back if you're going to do it.
Exactly.
There's no reason to have back-to-backs anymore. Like, why are we even doing that? Like, there's air travel is such that they all have their own private planes and stuff. It's not like you're waiting at the train station to pick up your team or you're having to drive the bus to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Like, they have AI and computers to figure all this stuff out. There's no need to have back-to-backs anymore. It's just
the tournament made it worse.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words? Everybody's good?
Oh, one more thing. I'm just kidding.
AJ Jerrell gonna be coming to your house and get you. Careful, bro. And he played football. He will knock you out.
He got his head all of a sudden. It's the Giant season that started already. Like, what happened?
He's gonna audition for that right tackle spot. He's gonna be like, "Hey, coach, put me in."
Wish I got paid like a right tackle. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, right.
Salute to the chat, though. Salute to the chat, Will.
Definitely remember to hit the like button, even if you hit on the way out. Hit the like button.
Definitely hit the like button. Geoff, Jerrell, Knick Nation, Ajay, I appreciate you guys. You guys are what makes the show, particularly this show. I think for the most part, you guys brought it. Nobody was ducking any smoke tonight. I like that. Sometimes I think we're a bit too nice up here. So good show today. Shout out to the chat. You guys were very active as always. We appreciate you. Replay King, you already know. Silent listeners, we can't see you, we can't hear you, but we know you there, and we appreciate you. Till next time, family. We'll be back. When the Knicks play? The Knicks play Friday. Geoff, you good for Saturday?
I should be good Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Whoever wants to join Saturday morning.
What time?
Friday, Sunday morning.
I would say 10 because I think I have a client early in the morning around 9.
Okay, so 9 my time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I should be there.
All right. Until next time, fam.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you